his students, not the One West stream, but other students who didn't go with One West, that they didn't believe in the New Testament, and so apparently Bivens didn't either. But we have that recording that we played on the Dividing Line back in summer of 2016 of him quoting at least from the New Testament. So which is it? Here it would be helpful. Oh, you got the chart up there?
Yeah, if everyone, I was going to let everyone see the chart. How do I
zoom in
on a screen?
It depends on what image you're using, what image viewer you're using. That's the problem. Like it's not via the screen. Oh, there you go. Well, anyway.
Wait, hold up. What? Oh, let me try this. I want to see if I can do this.
Okay, no problem.
I want to see if I can zoom in so everyone can see it better. So, oh, there you go. But I'm having trouble kind of guiding it though a little bit. I can zoom in. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can.
Let me see. Okay, there we go. Is that clear? Okay, that's super.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so see everyone at the top, Abu Bivens. Because the reason I'm doing this is we're mentioning some of the students, but the point is not everybody who was a student of his actually ended up a One Wester. That's kind of the point.
That was the thing that we mentioned at the beginning. I'm sorry. I apologize for interrupting you.
No, that's important. So Abu Bivens. Now we've mentioned Ari Yamashah, which remember that's the cursive script name there. Yaquab, who Yaquab is supposed to be
Ariya's father.
And you see that's there. By the way, Abu made this chart, everybody. Abu's the man. And there's Shar, who a lot of people don't really know much about.
He's still with the ICGJC. Shar is still with the ICGJC. He's one of the seven heads. 4 of the 7 heads joined later. They joined later. The original people who started One West were the 3 on the left: Masha, Yaquab, and Arya.
How do you get these pictures of them with these cowboy hats?
I think that was from a previous Passover, so that's them dressing up nice. That's their.
Okay.
You heard of the Sunday best? That's their Pesach best. Their Pesach best.
All right, so then we go down, and then Masha broke away from the ICUPK, formed House of David. So this is here, and then you had Nathaniel was in there, Tahar was in there, Zabak was in there, and they all split off and started their own thing. Nathaniel with IUIC, Tahar with Great Millstone, Zabak with House of Israel. But then this other stream, which was kind of like the original school, ICUPK, which became the ICGJC, and there's a picture of Tazadakia, who took over the school with Arya as an older man who is still alive. And then out of that came Yahana with the new IUCPK, as well as Rakar Shaya, the one who debated James White. Now, can you real quick explain the significance of relationship to Lashwan Kodash, Tazadakia's name, because it has that Taz sound?
Yeah, well, the Taza sound. The most absurd part of Lashwan Kodash is the claim that the Tzadeh is pronounced Ta-za. And for me, I think the obvious explanation is that whether it was Bivens or Arya, whoever created this, they were taking the transliterations of these Hebrew characters and just throwing an ah in, the a vowel everywhere, except for in the ayin, ah. The tzadeh, which is a hard S in Semitic languages, like in Arabic, the tzad, it's sad. You know, it's a hard S, and so in Jewish publications, it's usually in the Septuagint, it's rendered just as a sigma, but in Jewish publications, it's treated as it's either transliterated TS or TZ. In the past, TZ was very popular. Now TS. So you look in Jewish publications, whenever they're transliterating or transcribing something with the tzadeh, they'll render it TS or TZ. Now Bivens or Arya, whoever created this, when they saw 2 consonants in the transcription, they threw in the A sound twice, and they turned the tzadeh, that character, into ta-za, which is the worst of all the pronunciations given in Lashwan Kodash. That's the most absurd. It's the most baseless, and it's the biggest piece of evidence that Lashwan Kodash is like created by someone who didn't understand Hebrew, didn't understand Semitic languages.
Excellent. All right. Now, I am not sure what this video you were saying you would want me to play previously.
It's called Commandment Keepers NT Hook. Do you have that? It's again with the woman. It's the woman again. There were 2 with the woman. If not, I can play it.
I don't actually see that. No, the only clip I have left is the Jewish wedding one, I think.
We can do that one too. I forgot about that one. Yeah, that one's interesting too. Do you want me to play the one?
Maybe actually, I lost my Jewish wedding one too. I'm not seeing. Oh wait, Bivens' oldest non-One West student, non-NT. Oh, or
that's what you just played. You just played that one. And oh, by the way, the reason that's significant, again, because we sort of segued a bit, the reason that's significant is because, as I was saying, it shows that Bivens' students, at least one, who didn't go into One West, didn't believe in the New Testament. And so the implication seems to be that Bivens didn't believe in the New Testament. But as we said, there is an audio clip that exists, and Bivens does quote Romans in that text. And there's another video of Nasi Barak saying that he saw Bivens pray the Lord's Prayer. So he did deal with the New Testament. So there needs to be reconciliation.
It seems like if we put this all together, that he used it as a hook. Because remember in that other video, the guy's like saying, and I can prove it right there with that book you have.
Exactly.
Referring to their Bible. And it seems like, and there's another clip, I don't think we're going to play it today, where they're referring to Abba Bivens, and they say he taught the New Testament, but different. It kind of like, but I couldn't tell if they were saying he taught from it as if he believed it, or he just was explaining things from it, But it seemed like some kind of utilitarian use of the New Testament because he knew it was authoritative for Christians. Because we're also not playing this video, but everybody listen. These men talk about Abba Bivens setting up when Christians would be getting out of church and preaching to them right when they were coming out. Like if you guys remember the Malcolm X movie by Spike Lee, how he had the NOI out there, and he would, like, the minute they got released from church, attack Christianity and all that, and that's how they would kind of get a lot of people into their belief system. By the way, you notice a lot of these religious groups, to basically get steam, gain momentum, they have to make as a preoccupation with their polemics to attack Christianity. And then when we holler back at them, they're like, why are you guys picking on us? It's so unfair. You're obsessed. You're racist. But they've been coming at Christianity for years and years. And I'm going to be honest, this is me talking, not my man Abu. He doesn't talk this way. But Hebrew Israelism is a leech off the Christian church. It's a blood-sucking parasite that takes from the Christian church, then claims like they're doing something right. But you take people's belief in the scripture and the Bible that the Christian church has been instilling and teaching to them, and misuse their trust in God's word with your own insane hermeneutic. That's just me talking, but that's the way I feel about it. Now, let me say something real quick before I play this next clip. Actually, the only clip I do got left is the wedding clip. But hey, everybody watching, thank you very much, because I just hit 950 subscribers right now during this broadcast. My man Piccolo, well, could be a female, I don't know, just subscribed. That's 950. We had a goal to hit it before the end of the year. I told everybody if we did, we'd do something special. So this Thursday, I'm going to do something special. On Facebook Live, I'm going to do something totally different out of the norm called Theological Thoughts on Thor on a Thursday. And I'm going to do a video where we analyze some of the theology behind the Thor Ragnarok movie as a special bonus release video treat for y'all because we hit the 950 subscribers. Okay, Abu, what do you want to do right now?
Well, I don't know if you go to your email, I could give you the title of the email where we keep the clip, or I could just play the clip myself since you don't have it. There's a clip titled, let me see what the email was titled.
That's the hook?
That's the hook part 2. Do you have an email title?
I do. You know why I didn't get it? Because I just saw the page there, and I think I only had downloaded the page. I did with the image of the Commandment Keepers. I think I didn't.
Yeah. Download the video too.
I'll get it right now, then, bro.
And we'll play that one. And this is relevant to the New Testament.
All right. Yeah. As soon as it. Go ahead.
All right, so let me know as we lead into this video, the two things to keep in mind. One, we're trying to reconcile the thing about, some of his non-One West students of Bivens didn't believe in the New Testament, but Bivens did seem to use the New Testament on occasion. And so we have to reconcile that. You brought up the point that maybe he just used it to argue with people or to lead people in. You also brought up the point that that was alluded to in the guy Naphtali ben Naphtali when he said that Chief of Chiefs, when he said that Bivens would say, I can prove it in that book in your hand, referring to the Bible. So he may have just used it without necessarily endorsing it. Now, as we watch this next clip, remember that phrase that was attributed to Bivens, that's the hook. And again, this is another video from Uziel Lewy. Go ahead.
All right, here we go.
So dealing with Commander Keepers up to Rabbi Bibbins and anybody before, after them, what role did the New Testament play in anybody's understanding of being Hebrew?
Now, I'm going to ask that question another way. I wanted to finish with Rabbi Bibbins, too. Rabbi Bibbins was my father's contemporary. Whether he was actually ordained, that part I don't know. And there's nobody left to tell me. Okay? But he was trained somewhat with them.
He was called Rabbi.
Yes, he was. I remember that. Through my family, referred to him as Rabbi. Absolutely.
Yeah, so the question is, what role did the New Testament play, if any, with congregations back then?
Okay. Let me see. Okay, you're talking about the Messianic thing.
And this New Testament in general.
No, the New Testament, we did not study from the New Testament. Some people think that. No. Here's what happened. When Commandment Keepers was first formulated, it was called Commandment Keepers, Ethiopian Hebrew Congregation, Pillar and Ground of Truth, Faith of Jesus Christ. If that's what you people are referring to, people know about that. We don't lie. We don't have to. What that was about is, that was the hook, to bring the people in and teach them the truth. So for some people needed that hook. So if you see that written, and then eventually they did away with that faith of Jesus Christ altogether. Never taught New Testament. Never taught. They might have studied New Testament because any intelligent, educated person, you got to know about what's out there. Right. So they, as rabbis, probably studied it. Right. You have to be able to counter it. But for them teaching us, the elect, they never taught that. You see how I am. I am a perfect example of what was taught. And I'm the younger. That's right, and I'm the youngest. So you know how much stuff they knew, the ones that's older than me in my family. So no, that was never an issue. That was completely rejected. But like I said, they themselves, I don't know all the rabbinical studies. Had my father been here and I asked him, he'd say, yeah, ... He would explain. Because they study stuff like all spiritual people, leaders do. They study stuff that's not for us. So, but he wouldn't have told me the truth if I asked him. But it was never an issue. So if it was taught, it was only taught among them. I shouldn't even say taught, studied. It might have been studied among them, but never in the congregation. We never used the New Testament.
Very interesting. Abu, is your mic unmuted, my man?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry about that. What I would say is the interesting part, I don't know if you caught it, she said now this is about the commandment keepers, but notice she also used the phrase, that's the hook, or that was the hook, she said. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
So this seems to be so we have two things. We have the commandment keepers using the name of Jesus and maybe an allusion to the New Testament as, quote, the hook, end quote, to draw people in. We have Bivens, who seems to possibly have been somewhat ambivalent on the New Testament, and separate from that, also using the phrase, that's the hook, at least in reference to his bogus tribes chart. I think both of these can merge together to produce the sense that while he may have been more into the New Testament than the commandment keepers, his ambivalence, his apathy towards it was probably inherited from the commandment keepers as well. And here's the thing. While people might say, "Oh no, Bivens was into the New Testament because he taught from it," the problem is that the evidence that he did not fully embrace the New Testament is the fact that even long after he was dead, One West had a shaky relationship with the New Testament. They used it more and more to argue their case. They liked using Revelation 1 to try to demonstrate the color of Jesus. But the interesting thing is Adiala of Saints of Thunder, a former member of the Sons of Thunder camp, he had pointed out that when people brought the breakdown of the New Testament to Ariah, and we've discussed this in previous shows, when they confronted Ariah in the 90s with, going through Luke carefully to prove that Jesus was born of a virgin. Now, later on, people developed different responses to this, but Ariah's initial response was, Luke is a liar.
Yeah,
that was his response. The Gospel of Luke is lying. And there's other hints of this. There was an old One West breakdown that James in Acts 15, when he quotes Amos, he quoted it wrong. You know that James went off, and there's a clip of Tahar teaching that out there somewhere.
Really?
Yeah, he says Tahar still taught that. He goes, "I'm sorry, James went off when that the Apostle James broke down the book of Amos wrong. He didn't know it like the way Tahar does." But then there's also
hey. Well, he always said it was an epistle of straw, right?
Yeah, there you go. Well, no, but he was referring to Acts, the Apostle James in Acts.
I know.
Yeah, I know. Yep. So then there's that. Then there's another one is also in Luke. The thing about Adiala saying that Ariah said Luke is a liar. Keep in mind that for a long time, One West, when they would deal with the verse in Luke 3, and I believe Nathaniel still teaches this, that when Luke 3 says that Joseph was supposed the father of Christ, they claim that was added to the text. That's an interpolation, as was supposed. And they base this not on any Greek manuscript evidence. They base it entirely on the parentheses in an English translation. The relevance here is that One West's acceptance of the New Testament evolved over time. The evidence of that is very clear. The ICJJC reached the point where they accepted all of it, to the point that they even accept the Comma Johannium. I've seen the ICJJC try to use the Comma Johannium against people. So they embrace the entire New Testament, but that's not something that goes back to Abba Bivens. There was a slow acceptance of it. As late as the 90s, you had people like Ariah himself still rejecting parts of the New Testament, and I think that in itself is evidence that Bivens himself, much like the Commandment Keepers in an earlier version of itself, used the New Testament as, quote, the hook, as a hustle, a gimmick to draw people in.
Yeah, someone asked, I wonder if they have other hooks.
Probably. We're still learning, obviously.
All right. And then, well, I know that GMS, I don't know if they have hooks, but they have hook us.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Yeah, that's...
Actually, for real, speaking of Abba Bivens, I heard he had a pretty nasty right hook.
Yes, yeah, that's the legend, that he had knocked people out, but his penchant for street fighting unfortunately did him in as he got older. But oh well, you know.
Right. Somebody says, oh yeah, the 12 Tribes chart was another hook. So good, people are catching on. And then somebody says, there goes the hook again. Sadly, it worked. Another person says the hook knocked the sense out of most of them.
Oh, but this also draws us into another thing with the 12 Tribes chart. Remember what that guy said? He said that was used as just a hook back in the day. Yeah. But then he said after Bivens died, they started teaching it as if it was the truth. It seems that his stance on the New Testament may have paralleled that pattern. He was ambivalent. He was apathetic about the New Testament. But over time, the people who claim to carry on his legacy have come to teach it in its entirety as the truth, at least for the most part. Certainly the ICGJC reached that point where they embraced the entire King James New Testament. And the rest of them are very close. I mean, there's very little in the New Testament that someone like Nathaniel Alaga would reject. You know, it's probably just that part of Luke 3, I'm guessing.
I'm going to have to watch this video, but I just noticed a video from June 11, 2017, which says, it's by Yashamar Israel, and it says, elders confirm ISUPK lied on Abba Bivens.
I think what that's going to be is, that's the thing, other people who have also appreciate the recent research of Uziel Lewy, they're also getting into the question, they're exploring specifically the question of Abba Bivens in the New Testament.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So we're not the first to touch on this. Since Uziel Lewy got into this subject, a lot of people, not a lot, but there have been other people who have been intrigued by what it says about the historical narrative. Now, it's funny enough, that video is accusing ISUPK of lying. In this video, before you even knew about that video, you yourself said that we can't accuse these gentlemen of lying. I think people like Johanna, and then even outside of the ISUPK, people like Tahar, the narrative that they've handed it down sincerely. But they themselves may have been deceived by Ariah. They may have received a distorted narrative. Yeah.
Just so everyone knows, that they want to hear some of what we're referring to, there's videos out there called Abba Bivens Part 1, ABBABIVENS PT1. They're on a channel called GMS Old School with a K 2. So GMS Old School, SKOOL 2. And there's a Part 1, a Part 2, a Part 3. They're like 10 minutes clips, I think, each. And there's another one also under GMS LA. Well, actually, GMS La Yashaya. Elder High Priest Abba Bivens Part 1. Looks like it actually is a mirror of the same one. But so
Yeah.
there are some of those. The audio is kind of rough on those, but just so
Real,
everyone knows.
real quick, can you show that very short clip, the one about the Jewish wedding? We can close with that. Because it's not entirely relevant to this discussion, but it can be relevant to a future discussion. And it also has relevance to how much Bivens reflected the Commandment Keepers. Because something you know well from your own research on the Commandment Keepers is that they apparently had two stances vis-a-vis the mainstream Jews, especially Ashkenazi Jews, that on the one hand, they would work with Ashkenazi Jews and be very friendly with them and treat themselves as equals, but behind closed doors, they would call them imposters and stuff like that. Bivens may have been playing the same game, preaching hatred of Ashkenazis out of one side of his neck, but then sort of still, mixing with them. And and this is something that's been transmitted on as well, because, for example, Hadash, you may recall, he told the story about how he attended a House of David wedding, that Masha was there, and that when someone got married, Masha was yelling Mazel Tov and stomping on a glass and all this, like his sort of rabbinic past sort of like crept up, like his influence with rabbinic Judaism was still there in a pronounced way. And so what this clip is going to show, that just as Wentworth Matthews may have taken two tracks, to his congregation, tearing down Ashkenazi Jews, but then also working with them and showing them a different face, Abba Bivens may have been the same way. So again, this is, of the various people that Uziel Lewi interviewed, he's the one who knew Abba Bivens the best. He was at his school for a while. He also influenced that school, bringing, for example, the turban and other things from B'nai Zachem. So listen to what he says about towards the end of his relationship with Bivens.
Right.
Remember, this is supposed to be Bivens who hates mainstream Jews.
Right. So this is all significant. Hold on, let me get it set up here. All right, everybody, here is this clip. All right.
A Jewish people wedding. Yeah, but it broke my heart. You go for the Shabbat. It's good to go to a Jewish wedding. That's when I said, no, I'm going there. So, he tried to convince me. I said, no. That's okay, man. You do what you have to do. You know what I mean?
What is he saying? After he's saying, is that what he's saying? He stopped associating with them, or what is he saying there? He says, like, that's when I stopped.
Yeah, he's insinuating that that's when he was pretty much done with them. He's that Bivens broke his heart and he was kind of done with it. It was towards the end of Bivens as well. But what it shows is that on the one hand, you have people who never met Bivens, the One Westers, telling us that he was just straight up and down a hater of the mainstream Jews, what they would say are the counterfeit Jews. But a guy who actually met him recalls that even towards the end of their relationship, he was still associating with mainstream Jewish groups. So much like Wentworth Matthews, there may have been these two faces, these two different stances, friendly when around the Jews, but hostile to them when they're not around the mainstream Jews, hostile to his congregation behind closed doors, or, when they're not around, but when he could, I don't know, maybe try to get something out of them. And a lot of these groups were like that. It's not just Wentworth Matthews. A lot of these groups were like that,
Right. I'm trying to look for the section of that book where they talk about Matthews doing the same thing. I can't find it right now. But hey, you looking through the comments, do you see anything else, brother, that you want to comment on?
No, I'll just say this. I think we should close it up. It's been a pretty long video. I will say this. We may do future videos. We're continuing to research this subject, continuing to try to understand it. We've, over the time, it's very difficult to get a better understanding of One West. One speculative track that we're possibly going to chase down is the rumor that Bivens' family, because by the way, that video of Chief of Chiefs, Naphtali ben Naphtali, he talks about how the attitude about the tribes chart changed after Bivens' own family left the school or passed away. So even his family was different from the One West stream. He alludes to that guy, one of the first clips we showed. And I mentioned that because there's a rumor out there. A lot of people will say they never heard this rumor before. Others will say they heard it, but it's nonsense. There's a rumor out there that Bivens' family went closer into mainstream Judaism. I don't know if you caught that. I think you're muted right now.
Yeah, I did. Sorry, the dog was barking. I was just
Understood. No problem.
tell him to
So-
shut up. All right, so well, I can't find this page, but it's in an old school book by Howard Bratz where he talks about the Matthew's doing the same type of thing. So I think this.
Did you catch what I said at the end when you were dealing with the puppy?
Bivens' family went into traditional Judaism?
This is a rumor. This is a rumor, but it becomes a bit more plausible when we see now that Bivens, even towards the end of his life, might have been playing the same two-faced game that Matthews was playing. There's a rumor out there that Bivens, some of his family members who were in the school, they went a different direction and continued to be friendly with mainstream Judaism. And it's an interesting rumor because it's very convoluted. But like, for example, there was another family of what we would say what popularly would be called Black Jews or African Americans within New York who either practiced Judaism or were Israelites. There was another family called Bibbins with a double B. And some people will say, no, that was a different family, not related to Abba Bivens. There's people out there that are saying, no, the Bibbins family with a B, Bibbins, was actually his family. And whether or not that's true, there's also that family did get very close with mainstream Judaism in the late 60s and early 70s. And second, there's other people out there that are claiming that some of Bivens' own family, a brother, a son, they themselves got closer with mainstream Judaism as well. Well, I just wanted to mention that because seeing that thing that we just saw, that last clip, right now it's entirely in the stage of rumor. We're trying to chase down something more solid, but that might come up in a future discussion. I just wanted to put that out there. Right now, it's very speculative. It's dealing in very foggy rumors.
Biblios, you're asking about if we could discuss more of the rabbinic influences on Abba Bivens. We can't do that tonight, but we did that exact thing for like an hour and a half on a program that we did on the dividing line. Can you tell people? I'm going to show a screen share of that. Could you tell people a little bit about that?
It was a dividing line episode from the summer of 2016. It was called something like Judaism's Influence on the Hebrew Israelites or something like that.
Yeah, I'm bringing it up right now so people can see it. Yeah, okay.
And so we get into that. We get into some of the possible. Well, clearly, just the way he was dressed in that picture we showed you, he's wearing a prayer shawl. He's wearing a Sephardic mitznefet, which is like a distinctly Sephardic cap. Literally, mitznefet means something like turban or something like that, but it's more of a cap. But what he was wearing showed a rabbinic influence. Even the phrase Lashon Kodesh is the proper pronunciation. That's taken from rabbinic literature. The concept of using that phrase to represent the pure language vis-a-vis modern Israeli Hebrew is also something taken from rabbinic Judaism. And just the commandment keepers. Vocab showed that picture from of the commandment keepers from Jacob Dorman's chosen people at the beginning of this video. And here you go. Judaism's influence on the Hebrew Israelites. And we get into all of that. We also talk about very briefly, the Moorish Zion Temple and how there was, we can't prove that it was Abba Bivens himself, but there was ironically a Bivens family that lived right next door to the Moorish Zion Temple. And the Moorish Zion Temple was heavily influenced by rabbinic Judaism. They had an Israeli flag out. They had Yiddish, literal Yiddish, on their sign outside. They had the word Talmud written in their window. You know, they were and of course they had the prayer shawls and the Sephardic mitznefet cap and all that. So all these guys were influenced by rabbinic Judaism, and that's sort of acknowledged. I believe Tahar of GMS, he came out with a video responding to us saying, yeah, you know, that this was explained to him and that, you know, they had to go that route to find some of their heritage, and then they figured out the truth after the fact. But yeah, there was a heavy rabbinic influence in many respects, and some of that is carried over to this day. But when you go deeper into the history, when you get back to people like Matthews and Bivens, you see that the rabbinic influence is much more pronounced.
Right, and we had somebody earlier who was asking us if we could talk a little bit about Moorish Temple science, you know, and yeah, we just can't do it tonight though anymore about those topics because we want to wind down now. But hey, I think this show went great. We're gonna do stuff like this again as more information comes out. And I heard that Divine Prospect, while we're doing this, is doing a stream of his own where he's still talking about Matthew 28:19, even though he wouldn't debate me on it. I asked him if he would debate specifically on this question: is Matthew 28:19 an addendum to the text? He will not debate on it. But yet, this is what, the fourth video he's made. They're like 2.5 hours long. I mean, if you guys want me to respond to him in detail, I can, if you guys have seen these, because I watched it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so bad. Like, I could literally not put any slides together, not prepare for anything, just watch his video, pause it, and then correct his errors, and then hit play. I could do a running commentary. I'm going to nickname him Mr. Mistake a Minute, because as he speaks, the faster he speaks and the more he says, he makes some kind of error, a factor interpretation almost every minute. Like, so I know this is off the topic, but I saw what's going on, so I'm gonna maybe go check that out right now if you guys are interested in doing something. Although they kind of kick you out if you talk over there, but I'm gonna watch it and see, and let me know at some point if you guys are interested, if you want to have me respond to some of this, because you know, Abu, you watched the Divine Prospects, some of the stuff on Matthew 20:19, right?
A little bit, yeah. I remember I got to see a little bit of his stuff on. He even tries to attack Bart Ehrman, and it's a really, the little bit that I saw was a really gross attack. It sort of missed the context of a correspondence that somebody posted, and it really misrepresented Ehrman's position and tried to treat him as like ignorant of manuscripts that are fragmentary or something to that effect. And
Yeah.
I saw that, and it kind of, I'm not trying to disrespect Divine Prospect, Ron Shields, I believe his name is. I think he's a very intelligent young man, and you know, I respect what he does, even if I disagree sharply with him. But the little bit that I saw from that did leave much to be desired. You know, that's the politest way I could put it. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but yeah, I think there's a lot that could be said from the little bit that I saw from that video.
Excellent, man. Well, I appreciate you as usual, bro. And I think this is a great show. Thanks for all the hard work you do. And right now I'm going to close the show out. I've finally figured out how to actually show videos a lot better. So I'm going to close out with the intro to the show. Enjoy it. God bless y'all. Peace out. Good job, Abu. Have a good one, y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're now listening to